Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you today because you are somebody who I admire from a lot of standpoints. I got fat after my wedding, so to be sitting down with somebody who, like we were just talking about,
He was fat before the wedding too.
This guy.
It's love.
I love it. Don't worry. It's cool to sit down with somebody who does this for a living and helps people get in shape and stay motivated. But I also respect you from a standpoint. You're doing an amazing job with branding yourself.
Thank you.
And so this is Adrian Williams. And why don't you take a few seconds to tell us about yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Adrian Williams. I grew up in the Bronx, very much a New Yorker. I've worked in fitness probably my last 14, 15 years now, I would say. Went from being a personal trainer to boutique. Now I work for Peloton, which is a global company. I love things car related for sure, into photography and just kind of always trying to grow as a person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Does Peloton allow you to have that space to grow?
Oh yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest things that kind of glued me to them as a company. They were one of, if not the only places that wanted you to come and be who you are as a person, not change anything about you, and then also cater to you growing outside of what was just fitness, which was not a lot of people. I think a lot of brands, a lot of businesses, especially in the wellness space for me, that were attractive. It was come in and do one thing, be a coach, and that's all you are at the end of the day.
Did you always have aspirations to be somebody, Peloton's a very interesting, they kind of, it seems like they were the frontier for this in-home virtual.
Right.
You get the class, you don't have to drive out, it's like the Uber Eats of
genius.
So it makes sense. Did you always see yourself doing something like this?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I, as a person who works in front of the camera all the time now, I'd never wanted to be in front of the camera. I like to be the person who was shooting always. And so when I first was approached by Peloton, there were two instances. I turned them down the first time because I was trying to build the business that I was working for. They were a mom and pop shop, just one studio, and I wanted to see that grow. And
that was Boutique Fitness?
Boutique Fitness, yeah.
That was the name of the place?
Tone House.
Okay.
Great facility, did sports performance. But when Peloton approached me, I looked at them as a whole and I was like, okay, this is a studio that actually doesn't really care to change you as a person weight-wise, right? And as you were saying, I was big before my wedding. That wasn't their sole focus. Their sole focus was bringing in humans, making them feel good, and hopefully through feeling good, you move more. So that's how you would change physically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so how's that different than what you're doing now with Peloton?
I think narrative-wise, it's still the same, right? I always speak to this, especially when I'm in class. Hey, we're here, we're gonna sweat, we're gonna move our bodies. You may change, but I don't physically want to change you, I want to mentally change you. And I think the mental change is bigger because when you're doing something stressful, right? Whether it's a workout, homework, a job, if you can sit in that stress and you can figure out how to sort of get yourself above water and saying, instead of sinking, it creates change in your brain. And so 100%. I'm trying to create a change in mindset of, this is hard, but I can still do. This is hard. This time I might not be able to finish something or achieve this goal, but if I stick at it, eventually I'll get there. Eventually I can conquer this.
Yeah, we had a gentleman on last night who was an ex-paratrooper in the military, and he was telling us something very similar. He was saying the thing that he resonated the most within the military, that he took out to the real world with him, was he knew how to kind of flick that switch and make that change. And people are like, oh, you have kids, you're not sleeping, you gotta do diaper duty. He's like,
I'm alive, well fed, I'm far from what people think is a bad situation or people think is a stressful, strenuous situation. You're not even touching your limits.
Right.
So that was kind of his,
Yeah.
I mean, I like hunter-gatherers, and this is going back, but we used to eat one meal a day and that would suffice and we were totally fine, right? And in society, we've just got creature comforts, and we're used to that creature comfort. We're used to having access to anything that we want at any specific given time. So we don't get things immediately, whether it's a career choice, the school you're trying to get in, you've got an idea of a weight you'd like to be or how your body would like to look. Immediately, people think, okay, I'm turning the other way, and it's just no, give it some time. I always tell people, they're like, oh, but this is what you do for work, but I've also been doing this for 14 years, right? I've been physically working out for 14 years. So my body's just used to being a certain way. And so when people start anything with us, I'm like, you gotta give it actual time. Right. You also have to see where you'd like to be. You might think you want abs and a bigger booty and better biceps, but like I've had clients that I've given that to, and they're like, I want this now. And I'm like, you haven't figured out actually why you're really unhappy. You're unhappy with something else generally, and you're looking for something aesthetic to be or to make you feel pleased.
So would it be fair to say that a lot of your philosophy around wellness and fitness comes with not just moving the body and changing the body, but mindset?
Mindset is first. I don't care what anyone says. Mindset will take you through anything, right? Everyone's had hardships in life. I'm not special, but I think when you start to develop a strong mind, you don't live in being stuck in that mindset or the fear or thinking that you can't move forward. So I always, first things first for me is everything is I have to be okay upstairs before I go to work. And so I do like either breath work in the morning or a quick meditation on the ride in, just to kind of like be present. And it's what you were just saying about being appreciative. My life's pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
I'm healthy. My family's healthy.
Right.
The people I care about are in a good space. I'm fed well. My stress is whatever I'm kind of creating for myself. Right. My stress is always related to goals, places that I'd like to be. And so at the end of the day, I remind myself of that, because especially when you're in New York City, you see people that are so much less fortunate than you are. And it's a constant reminder kind of to be appreciative. And social media makes things harder, because you see people living these like grand lives and you're like, I should be doing so much better.
It's bullshit.
Of course it is.
Yeah, that, and it kind of just takes away from that, like you were saying, like that instant, like now, like that's really like, I feel like the biggest downfall of it is just like, it's just instant hits.
Right.
Where it's like, you can never really appreciate, you never have that like long form, that like, long gathered appreciation and understanding for something that, I worked so hard for this. So, that's
that right there, like
delayed gratification is the buzz thing that I hear a lot.
Or like what you were just saying before about you get to a certain point when you've reached the goal, and then instead of enjoying the goal, you're like, what's the next thing?
Right.
So like sit with the goal for a minute.
It's so hard. But why is it so hard? Like, why is mindset so hard to change? I think it's societal. Like
one thing for me is like the biggest thing that I can, like, working out is a total mindset thing for me. Like, I don't work out at all to change my, my shape.
Right. I'm
just working out because it's just like, it sets the tone, it gets me going, it gets me pumped. So like, I kind of like what you're saying there, where it's really just, it's mindset. It's something to enjoy, right? You're just going to get moving.
What's the thing you remember always from a workout if you said you hated it the next time, that you're probably not going to go back? So I always tell people there's many, I teach workouts from beginner to intermediate to advanced. I always tell people fun first, fitness second. Like the workout is this, like, laugh a little bit while you're here, have a good time, even laugh at yourself when you're going through something hard. Take a minute. I always tell people to take an emotional lap when they're working out with me, right? Like, just walk in a circle, curse me out a little bit maybe, and then come back to center. Because like at the end of the day, if you hold on to the negativity there, you're never going to want to go back. If you do the thing that like makes you personally happy, that maybe is not for everyone else, but it's for you,
right?
At least you're moving your body at the end of the day. And that's what's going to keep you happy.
It's so interesting that you say that, because when we connected first and I started doing some research into who you were and started watching some of your stuff, I realized, like, sometimes, and I'm not knocking anybody, because there's a pot for every, or cover for every pot, and ass for every seat. I don't resonate with the guy who's yelling in my face all the time. And I love what you just said about,
but that's what I mean. Different people want different things.
From the same father and mother. But, so I love the fact that of what you just said, because I think that sort of energy is necessary, but it can turn people off sometimes. So do you have an ethos or a philosophy behind how you want to structure your classes?
That's actually what I've
before you get into that, do you want to kind of break down for people who might not know, like, what, like, so you told me just before, you don't do any cycling.
I mean, I do it outdoor myself for sure.
But in terms of coaching through Peloton.
Strength, specifically rowing, boot camps, and runs.
Okay. So, based on that, how does that work with structure?
And I think in terms of structure, this is what I've always thought about. If my mom, high level athlete, and someone who is in the middle were in class, could I cater to all three of those people?
Interesting.
My mom being a little bit older, right? Maybe moving just slightly slower. She's still in great shape. But am I teaching to the person who is high level, beginner, and someplace in the middle? Can I be supportive of all three of those people in a workout? That's always how I think about a workout. And so I'm always going to give you something that's almost unattainable, something that is attainable, and something that's kind of great for the beginner to start with to build confidence. I think as the beginner, I'm always thinking about how can I make you feel more confident in what we're doing.
Right.
I'm a hard ass when I teach in terms of programming, but I'm the most nurturing person when I'm teaching a class, just because of that fact, right? I know that what we're doing is a little bit crazy, but I'm also going to be the person who's like, take the break. You need some water. Right. Like, I'm here to support you. Take the modification. If you can't do it, that's totally fine. If I need to give you something else, I'm also going to support you. You have to talk to every single person in the room. And I say this generally, right? You have to be able to see all three of these people in the room and cater to all of them at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I think that's another thing that people resonate with you. And we've only known each other now for a half an hour. And the thing that immediately jumps out at you when I stood next to you was, this guy is authentic. And I think that's something that might help in that space too. You're touching on the end of how do you talk to the room, right? I think authenticity is probably huge for you as well, because you just give off such warmth. Like, I wanted to tell you that I'm a little fat. I don't tell people that, but we sat down and I was like, Adrian, I'm a little fat.
But it's almost in the sense of your business, right? Like, you have a great business, and it's not just because you're working on these amazing cars, right? It speaks to your family as a whole, right? There's something about being human and being relatable that people really love. And no matter how much you can plan that in terms of like content creation, you are or you're not. And when people have face value with you, I think is where they see that, right? Someone could be amazing on social and you meet them and you're like, who the hell is standing in front of me? And this has happened to me so many times where I'm like, wow, that's a persona. Right. Okay, I got it. Which is fine. I'm not here to say like someone can't be. If it's great for your business, it's great for your business.
Right.
But for me, it's too much work to pretend and then go home and cut the character off. I'd rather just be who I am. And I know that I can't think that I'm for everyone, but at the end of the day, I know I'm a good person. And if me being a good person is not for you, that's okay.
But to an extent, right? Like, when we do this podcast, if you were to meet me and Joseph in person, I think we're very similar to who we are on the podcast as we are people, but maybe turned up a little bit, right? So for you need to turn it up a little bit on camera. Is it ever hard for you, if you've had a rough day or going through something, to turn that off and know that you're talking to a bunch of people and you don't want them to see that?
This is yes and no. Okay. So I think for me, being in the space of teaching is where it's the most fun for me, right? Like, that's where I get to kind of release whatever I'm feeling, and I know that I'm putting good energy back into the world, so I know people are receptive of that, and that makes me happy. I think the tough part is when you're dealing with loss ever, right? Or there's sometimes we're teaching classes where it's like, I remember when the first year I started, I taught a Father's Day class. Okay. My dad passed away from cancer. And so I'm teaching this boot camp, I have this class called Thunder 45, which is insane. It's crazy. And I remember getting to a point where I just started thinking about my dad, and I started talking about him, and then I started bawling.
In class?
During a live class while it was recording, right? And so it's that for me sometimes, that you can hold in some emotions when you're teaching, and when you're working out, you can't control your emotions because your body's like,
super elevated.
I'm tapped out, right? Your body's like, sorry, if you're about to cry, it's going to be a hard,
plus the music's going,
cry,
you're just
right?
like, I'm like in ecstasy right now.
I've cried several classes.
And so there's like this emotion that comes out of you. This is what I think helps people connect during workouts, is because you can't keep the emotion down. It has to come out. But that for me used to be hard. And then I realized that just made me more human. And so like anytime I go into teaching and I'm feeling a certain way, I talk about it. I'm not having a great day.
They would say be yourself. It's the best advice.
Well, just because someone else is also not having a great day. Someone else also lost their dad. Someone else is also going to connect to whatever you're feeling. And so if you go in and you speak about that, someone messages you usually and they're like, thank you for saying this, or thank you for speaking about whatever it was in terms of that topic. Right. It really,
you gotta think somebody was really affected to reach out and be like, hey, like you really like touched me.
Yes.
Like I would never do that. But like if you're at that point, you're like, this guy really reached out of the screen and touched me. And I think like for someone like you, who like, you know, you're tall, you're good looking, you're in great shape, you kind of have it all together. Obviously you dress nice. You just seem like, you know, to a lot of people like an unattainable, you know, goal, right?
Right.
So to have someone like you who's kind of like got it all figured out, just be like, I'm breaking down here. Like that's huge.
It's huge.
Well, and I always tell people, I don't have it figured out. I don't. I have right now figured out, but I have the next 5 figured out, but I'm always kind of trying to figure it out. Because I've changed as I've gotten older as a person. The things that I thought I wanted might not be the same right now, or what I think could have been a perfect life for me. Maybe I've gotten there and I'm like, oh, that wasn't true, right? And so I'm still, and I tell people this, I'm still figuring it out. And whatever you're seeing or whatever you think is perfect isn't true, because I think that's a constant in life.
What's the work and what are the changes that you need to make, or you feel like you need to make? Like, how do you evolve your product? Like how do you change things and push yourself where you're like, you know, I'm feeling stagnant right now and I need to break out of that and give more, you know, for myself, for these people?
Well, I think in terms of workspace, I'm to a point where I'm really happy with what I do for my career. My job makes me really happy. That being said, that's not where like the growth stops for me. It's like, I'm in a good place. Okay, now how can I give back? And so like the give back component's always been probably one of the biggest things that I've always wanted to work on or be a part of. And New York City, right? It breeds that sort of ideal. Just because I think what I was saying before, you see people who are not as fortunate. And so when I think about being in a happy place, there's another layer to like, okay, how can I also improve people's lives in a more impactful way, just outside of working out? And so I've, aligned myself with certain charities just because the Brain Aneurysm Foundation, which we were talking about before, which is near and dear to me because that's how my grandma passed away a few years ago.
It's actually how our grandfather passed away.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Do you mind? What was that fact that you gave recently that a percentage of people don't know that they have?
Oh, the 1 in every 50 individuals. And this is the facts sometimes scare people. The information scares people. And I've had a ton of people that have reached out and they said, this made me very scared. And I'm like, I'm not trying to scare you. I think I'm just trying to provide you information, awareness. Right? That's exactly what it is. We didn't even think about aneurysms in my family until it happened to my grandmother. And then all of a sudden we're like, okay, we all need to go get tested. We need to make sure that this is not something that's genetic. And then you download all this information since I've started working with the charity, and you realize that there are so many people that are affected by this and no one really talks about it, right? And so what I wanted to do is change that, the narrative behind it, and just give information, because maybe me saying something on someone's social and something that they saw made them go to the hospital or a doctor or see their general practitioner, and maybe they caught something in that process. And for me, that's great, right? Because I didn't have that information. We didn't have that information. Had we, maybe it would have been something that we would have done. And I never like to think in coulda, woulda, shoulda, because as strange as it sounds, I think losing my grandma slapped me in the face, because I was like in a space where, and this is pre-Peloton, I was in the space where I was working 7 days a week and never seeing my family, ever. And so we were having Sunday dinner. My grandma's having Sunday dinner, and she's like, Maurice, she called me my middle name. She's like, we're having Sunday dinner, and I did what I always do. I was like, man, I can't make it. I have to get ready for the week. My whole family's there. That night, they leave. She has an aneurysm. My sister finds her the next day. She's still alive, but she's brain dead. We bring her to the hospital, and obviously she wouldn't want to be alive like in that state. And it was just like, I was like, holy shit. I've been so unaware of what's going on because I'm so busy that I just lost the person. She raised us as kids, right? When my mom and dad worked, she was our caretaker. Everything that I understand and know, I get from my grandmother.
Right.
Anything that I talk about on the platform, I'm always like, don't thank me, thank my grandmother.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it was just like a refocus of like, spend time with the people that you actually care about, because just like that, they can be taken away.
That's a really good tip for people.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're maybe stagnant, and kind of going back to Joseph's question, or when you're going through something like that, are there tools that you over and over go back to that you can use to kind of get yourself out of grooves like that? Do you think fitness is something that you can use?
So I need to be creative.
Okay.
And so for me, because fitness is now work, it's not the tool that makes me or pushes me out of that zone. I need to go and feel like I can still do something on my own or create something on my own that I'm proud of. And so whether that's videography, photography, well, I guess even with my car, like sometimes I go and I drive, right? Like, so I'll get up, it's so funny because I'll wake up at like 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning. My girlfriend's like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm just going for a drive.
I don't know.
She was like, at first she was like, what are you talking about? You're going for a drive. Everyone's always like, what are you talking about? So I'll just drive in silence. I'd go up to like, I don't know, Harriman State Park. Mm-hmm. I'd sit outside, listen to the water for a little bit, and then come back and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm much, much better now. I just need a place where I can think in peace. Because I'm on social or my job is camera facing, I feel like I never have time to just listen to my thoughts. And so I need a place in silence. And photography for me or videography for me is silence, right? It's paying attention to all the stimulation that's going around and noticing the one thing that you think is beautiful or cool and then shooting it.
Right.
Which is where I then like go into being like restorative for myself.
So from an improvement standpoint, like as an instructor, do you ever watch your stuff and take notes, or how do you improve in that aspect of your life?
100%. I think if...
Surprised you have the time for that. Like 15 plus classes a week.
Well, and I always think use of your time. So I'll like be going to work and I'll watch classes that I've done, or sometimes it's just business as usual, and it's all dependent on like what the context of the content actually is. But you have to be evolving. I still want to know that like you're seeing my authenticity on the other side. And so when that stops, it'll never stop. But when that stops for me, when I stop coming across as like who I actually am, that's for me when I'm like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah. The other day I was in, sorry to cut you off, but I was in my parking garage and I was listening to one of our podcasts.
Right.
And which I try to do often.
You should.
And I was just sitting in my car like this, and I was like watching the video, like, you know, like tired, dirty from work, and my buddy just knocks on the window, and I look, and I wrote on the window, he's like, "You pretentious dick, you are watching yourself right now." And I was like, "Dude, it's not like that." And he's like, "It's like that."
No,
it's not. I'm trying to get better.
This is the thing, right? I've said this a million times. When you're starting a brand or business on social, your content is not for your friends and family. It is for the audience that's out there. And that is pretty wide in terms of diversity. And so you do want to watch your content. A lot of friends I've been made fun of for like, they're like, "Dude, I watched you in class." And they're like, "What?" What? Like, what? And I'm like, it's the same person, but it's just weird for you to see. But I'm sure
Do they
people
all work out, or
huh?
Are they into working out?
Not all of them.
Okay.
Not all of them. It's and it's funny because everyone thinks, oh, you probably have like the Avengers as friends. And I'm like, no, we're just all very different. But that specifically, your content's not for them, right? They know you as a person. It's a different side that they get to see. Your content is for a different audience.
Yes.
And if you want to improve, you have to watch it.
Yep.
You have to watch it. And also you have to ask for people's opinions of what they think if you ask people to watch it.
Right.
They're like, is this me? Is this somebody else?
You need people around you that, because there's a lot of yes men. And it's not that, I think sometimes it comes down to insecurities. Like when I ask somebody, which I'm going to ask you after this, how did I do? I'm like, I curl up in a ball inside because I'm like, I'm begging him not to point out, you kind of did get fat after your wedding or whatever, like I'm insecure about, So I think you also have to work on being around the right people,
right?
And knowing that it doesn't have to be all your friends, right? Because I see a lot of stuff on social media, which I hate, which is like, this is the year where I cut out all the fat from all the people in my life. I think there's room for every sort of relationship, not the toxic ones, but definitely try to find people around you who are going to be real with you.
Do you think you have that?
Right there. I remember when I was in college, I got really into acting, and I would have them come to plays all the time.
Right.
And I got really a big head because people were coming out to me like, you're really good. Like I did not, I saw a completely different person. Then he came up and watched me in one of my plays. And I was like, what'd you think? And he was like, it was good. I was like, what'd you think? And he was like, I didn't think you were very good. Like you straight up told me that. You're like, I didn't think it was believable. I didn't think you were that person.
Right.
And I was like, holy shit. Like, and it didn't.
That's what you want.
100%.
I don't know if he wants it.
Not all the time.
I think he does.
Or my sister, who's like the sweetest, gentlest, like we love our sister, our older sister.
Right.
She was like, oh my God, you were amazing. And I was like, thanks, Chris. Joseph, he's like, suck. You suck. But it's
disappointed.
Huge. I get it. And you know what? If you have the right mindset,
Yes.
you can take that and you can grow from that.
Yes.
And that's huge.
Right. He's not telling you you can't be great. He's telling you that just what he saw in front of him wasn't great, which is
probably wasn't.
That's okay. We all have things that we should work on. I think that right there, like I try to keep that around me as a circle. Someone who's just going to be, I also don't like anything sugar coated. I don't know if either of you do, but tell it to me like it is. If you think I suck as a person, you think what I did is terrible, tell me right then and there. Right. That was my dad. My mom is like that sweet person. She's like, everything's great. You're amazing. My dad was like, so I have to say this is my stepdad, because when you see pictures, everybody's like, this guy's like, he's got a blowout mustache. Super. So my stepdad, but I call him my dad, was like Italian, and he was just like a garbage man, army brat, like to your chest. Everything was to your chest. And so we used to go places and then be like, oh, you're so cute. And he always used to go, but Maurice, what else? Like, what else?
That's awesome.
It's not about you being cute. You like, do you have anything else about you as a person that's great?
I love that.
You can't focus on you being a cute kid or your sister being cute. You have to have other qualities that are redeeming. And I used to be like, man, what the hell are you talking about? And then as I got older, I was like, yeah, actually, that's so smart, because I think, a lot of kids these days are told you're perfect, you're the best, you're amazing.
Right.
And then they go to apply for a job and they're told, you're not working hard enough, you're not good at this. And they're like, I don't need this job, I don't need you. And it's like, oh, you've never heard constructive criticism before.
Yeah.
That's a loss.
Was that reflective of your early relationship with athletics? Like, did you have, like, how did you get into athletics? And were you in like because, to push hard, sometimes you need, like, I needed a lot of tough love, especially with athletics.
Right.
Michael was able to be a good athlete without it. And Michael, probably performed better when he was, pumped up and coddled a little bit. I like to get knocked down and dragged out. And even to this day, like, the thing I do more than anything is Soul Cycle. But if, like, my Soul Cycle instructor, who I'm super close with, is just ragging on me the whole class. And she tells everyone, we're friends, it's cool, he likes this. So, like, how did you get into athletics? Was it like that? Like,
so I ran track, 100, 200 meter. And
so that's one lap?
100 meters, just like quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a sprint.
And so I was speed guy. And I did that for a few years. And then my coach passed away. And then we got a new coach and I hated him, right? The dislike was really, just like in my soul. And so I stopped athletics, stopped running track. And this is when I wasn't really lifting. I probably went through a period where I didn't do anything exercise related. I would say for 5 years, nothing.
Did
zero.
you love track before that?
I did. I still love sprinting to this day. And at the time, my dad had cancer. I dropped out of school. We were taking care of him. And then as he started to decline and he passed away, I found myself, because I was working odd jobs at the time, just trying to basically take care of him when I could during the day when my mom was at work. And so I got to this point where I was like, he passed away, and I was like, I've not thought about what I wanted to do for the past few years because I've just been so focused on my dad. So my friend was like, I think you should get into personal training. She's like, for some reason, you still maintain this look. You love helping people. This will be like a niche. So she gave me a few of her clients. And from that, I built, a rapport with people. And then I went into the boutique space and then transitioned into Peloton. But in the beginning, no, I wasn't a person who was obsessed with working out. To this day, I'm not, right? I'm not obsessed with working out. I like the stress factor in working out. I like a beat down. And I don't need someone screaming at me, but I want to do it to myself. And I'm motivated by myself to kind of like get to that point of heavy discomfort. I love discomfort.
It's an easy way to do it without like being in danger. Like we've all had a coach or been through an exercise where you just your head, I have to quit. So I really think discomfort is such a massive part of growth. And so I resonate with that like 1,000 times over. Because for me, besides being here and trying to work hard and be a better person here at the shop, it's exercise. Like I want to quit, but I have to sprint just a few more seconds. And like every time it gets a little bit easier. Right. I think that's for people, maybe they don't understand it or they're afraid of it. I don't know.
Do you crave it? Do you think you crave it?
Crave what?
Like that
discomfort?
That discomfort.
I crave it. It's hard for me to hit it now. Like I'm not, back in the day I was a wrestler and my coach was a psychopath. Literally. Like there's videos, if you pull up any video where he's in the kid's corner, you can't even watch the match because he gets thrown out of tournaments for smashing his head into walls. And like the last tournament I heard he got thrown out of, there was a kid, one of his students was wrestling a kid with one leg, and the stuff that he was screaming, they were like, you got to leave. Right. But this guy was able to push us, and I haven't had anything like that. And like that's like we were saying, the fact that you think you can get there by yourself and push yourself.
Yeah, that's huge.
I haven't had that, and I can't push myself to that place without someone else being like, no, this is not over. Right. So I crave it, but it's just so hard for me to get at that level.
There was almost like a part where I think that coach, I won't name him, but he believed in reaching a breaking point. Right.
If you didn't cry, he wasn't happy.
I worked out with him only for maybe 3 months, and I would constantly go outside and cry after because he would push you to that place. And now, only now, do I see the merit in it. Again, it wasn't my style, but it sounds like for you, that was huge.
Oh, it was everything. Yeah, I would cry. I'd be smashing my head against the wall, and I'm like, I love this.
There's got to be something for everyone, right? Like I do have people who often tell me, like, I want you to scream at me, and I'm just not that person. But there are people. If you need that exists. If you want the screaming, it's okay for that to motivate you. I think sometimes it's being pushed into like that uncomfortable place that people, they need a little bit more. Right. It's not going to be a gentle, I'm going to lead you here. It's going to be like, I'm going to drop you in the water.
When did you start to look at yourself as being capable of having your own brand, like the Adrian Williams brand?
I think it took being in a space where I was uncomfortable in front of the camera. The first 2.5 years at work, I taught to an empty room. I'd never seen people in the room because I was a COVID hire. And so I came on in 2020, right? And for 2.5 years, it was just an empty room. I did not understand. I still didn't understand, right? Until I taught that first class. And then there were, I went from, I don't know, maybe at the time I had 10,000 followers. And then I got 24 in 24 hours. Really? 4,000 people started following me in 24 hours. Wow. And I was like, what in the world? And so there was just all these messages that I was getting from all these people. And then I was like, now I get it, right? But it took so long for me to get to a space where it was like, you create positive change in the world, right? That's what I think I'm a facilitator of, positive change and growth. Sure, I'm a person who can tell you like, we're going to do 10 squats, 5 overhead press. We're going to row this distance. We're going to run this fast. But at the end of the day, I'm here to serve the people, right? Like, and if I can't make folks feel good while they're with me, then I think I've lost kind of sight of what I'm doing for work. Because especially with personal training and I think the fitness industry, everything was about like me, look at what I'm doing. It's like the self-worship. I almost got out of it actually for that reason. I wanted to like move to LA, work with my brother in production. I was like, I'm done with this. Like, I don't want to be worshiped. I actually want to like do good for people. And so finally, like I moved into a space where I could, and I was like, this is what I've been searching for. This is what I've been looking for. This is how I can affect people's lives in a good way.
How do you stay away from the negativity that is the atmosphere around social media?
Do you get a lot of it in what you do?
Negativity? No.
Yeah, we get it a lot.
Do you?
Yeah.
Dude,
From
I have to wear a hat now.
Just stupid
what?
people who are like,
My hair, my voice.
you ruined that car. You what are you guys doing? You don't know what you like. So just for an example, we fixed a car and Porsche tells us that we have to glue and rivet it on. It was previously welded, but like the engineers tested it. This is what they want. That's what we have to do. Mm-hmm. This guy's going, oh, you're a clown. Who you're going to glue the car together? It's so many people. It's just dumb stuff. But I feel like you're in such a positive, you're just lifting people. Like, what could someone really say?
Someone can always say something.
Wow.
So it's interesting that like my mom always jokes around because I always go the internet because I like to sound like I'm old, right? Because I'm 40. But it's interesting that someone always has something to complain about. And I've said to myself, again, I'm not for everyone. So unless I care about you, right? Actually care about you, and you say something that I know isn't true or it's just negative, and I'm like, oh, this is who you are as a person. I kind of feel bad that that's someone's energy every day,
right,
all day. It's not me. It's everyone that they're interacting with. And so for me, yeah, there are going to be some things that maybe people don't like about me. And that at the end of the day is okay. Like, I know what I'm doing in the world. I know I'm doing positive things. I know that I'm trying to be a positive person in most people's lives. So like my friend Eddie, who's like my homie, he's like my best friend. He's, he jokes with me in the sense, but it's never in a negative light. He never comes at me from a negative space. It's always like, I'm going to always be the person to check you. That I love. I love being checked by my friends and family. But if it's someone I don't know, one of the, hundreds, millions of people who's on social and just attacking everyone, and they don't have a profile pic, there's 0 posts. I get it. You're on this sort of media space just to cause havoc because you're unhappy. It right off of
That's
it.
great.
Yeah.
You got to build thick skin.
Well, when at the end of the day that what you do here is good work in the shop.
Right.
You can stand behind that overall,
right,
over everything.
So like that person should be an afterthought in terms of,
yeah,
right, like where are they coming from that they're an expert. There's my dad always used to say there's millions of ways to be happy. There's not only one way to do something. There's got to be multiple angles, right? I don't think that the way I teach is perfect. Right. I don't think that everything I'm doing or telling people to do is the perfect and only way to do things. There's multiple ways to get it done.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to like cross over into anything else? Like, do you want to do, acting? Do you want to do, I don't know. Like, do you have any other aspirations that you'd like to take professionally or at a big level outside of fitness?
Creatively.
Well, I think tapping into what I do on the platform, off the platform would kind of like spark some creativity and growth in me, right? Where we are,
like training people.
We're not therapists. We're not anything in that sense. But there's a lot of times where people come to me for guidance, and I think the next layer of what I do is doing it while we're not running 10 on a tread. I've always wanted to get into voiceover work, just because I think it's fun. Meditation is interesting to me. Sleep stories are interesting to me. Like niche things that are kind of just, I've realized that people want from me almost in a sense that also interests me. So there are a ton of things that I'm thinking of, but I haven't decided where I'm going to start.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just be someone who just is labeled as one
One-dimensional.
thing. I'm just not. You know, I love food. I love travel. There's all sorts of things I think I could get into.
Yeah. We were talking about this a little bit before the podcast, and I wanted to ask, especially because you were a COVID hire. And so at the time where it seems like you garnered a little bit of a following, people didn't interact face to face. You remember the first time that somebody recognized you from something that you did or from Peloton? Do you remember that moment?
The first time, so I think, I'll tell you the first story that was like, whoa, to me, and then I'll tell you the first time that someone recognized. First story, there was a woman she was pregnant. She was in the hospital. She had tagged me in the story that she was taking one of my classes and trying to walk her baby out. And I was like, what? Like, what are you doing? And fast forward, this is 2.5 going into the 3rd year, right? Like I have an actual relationship with this woman. I've seen her and her husband in different aspects at the studio. I saw them at Mall of America. Like now I see Theo and he's 2.5 years
That's
old.
cool.
And I'm like, wow, you took my class and walked that baby out. That was like the first realization of like, whoa, the global effect of what we do. The first time I saw someone, there was a young woman who came in and her husband, she has 3 kids, full-time working mom. Her husband had broken his back and was neck down, could not move. Thankfully, he is getting movement back.
Really?
So she came in, we're taking our picture, and she's like, I just want to thank you. And she starts bawling. And I'm like, well, like, this is the first time I'm like hearing a story. So I was like, well, like, are you okay? And she was like, I just want to tell you that you were the only thing that kept me sane during this period when I was a full-time mom, full-time wife, full-time caretaker. And this was what was happening in her life. And she was like, you were the 20, 30 minutes or 45 minutes where I did not have to think about all these things.
That's amazing.
And I appreciate that so much.
That's so powerful.
And I was like, whoa. Like when we're talking about people dealing and having real things in their lives that are going on, there are a ton of people that we hear stories like that from. And that's like on an everyday basis. Someone will tell you, you got me through cancer. You kept me motivated while I was getting chemo, or you've helped me, control my diabetes, and now I'm fully healthy and I don't have to take it. Like there are just wild stories that we hear all the time where that's the reminder that like I need to show up to work as like the most authentic person, like ready to give back, because someone on the other side kind of actually does need you. Right? You are someone's safe space when they sign on to the tread or get on the bike or get on the rower or get on the mat, or they're just there to stretch.
Yeah. That's sacred.
Yeah.
Do you ever deal with imposter syndrome?
No. I think for me, the only time that I thought about that in the beginning, and my friend Eddie got this out of my head real quickly, was when I started getting recognized and when it became a thing. Downplaying, I constantly, even pre-Peloton, I always kind of like made sure I was like in the foreground just because I didn't want to ruffle feathers. I didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable. And there was a gentleman who was like, I don't know how good or how much you believe in energy, right? Like there's a gentleman, because when you start to talk about this shit, people are like, oh, it's getting a little bit weird. There's a gentleman, I went to go see my friend in Cali and I met her mentor, and he's coming to drop something off, and he sits down. He's like, can I talk to you for a second? And he sits down and talks to me for like 2 hours. And he basically tells me like, if you don't stop. Yeah, right. I was just like, when he started talking to me, I was like, how does this dude know so much about me? But he was like, if you don't remove the cape that you put over yourself all the time, you're never going to get to where you need to be as a person. Right. Wow. It's like, you're thinking so small. He's like, you're supposed to change lives on a global scale. And this is a month before I had actually going to the second audition to Peloton, the second time they had asked me to work for them. I was like, what is this guy talking about? And then I like went home, sat on it, and I was like, I do that. I do try and make people comfortable all the time, because for some reason I'm worried that like my happy energy or my joy is gonna be something that is offensive to them. And so for a while I did deal with that, like previous to Peloton. And then once I started working for them, I said, I have to let go because I'm trying to actually go to the next level, right? I'm trying to, change people's lives on a global scale. And as soon as I let go of that, I was just like freed from thinking all the BS of like, fuck this guy, he's not actually who he is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's huge help. I remember when Nick Dio was coming, and for us, that was a huge get. And Nick has like amazing connections. And when I got the DM and he was like, I'm going to be there, I started to freak out.
Right.
Because I was like, a lot of people are going to see this. And so I called one of my best friends and I was like, I know this is going to sound ridiculous. I have 1,500 followers on Instagram. It's nothing. I'm nobody, but I'm starting to freak out and I'm starting to wonder like if people are going to be able to read that I'm terrified. I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm a bullshitter. And he was like, I have two things for you. Said, when somebody comes to the shop and says, can you fix my Honda? Do you freak out? No. Somebody comes and says, can you fix my Audi? Do you freak out? No. What about the Pagani? No. It's like, that's because you do know what you're doing.
Right.
And the other spectrum is nobody really knows what the fuck they're doing.
Figuring it out.
So just keep that in mind.
Right.
You are not a bullshitter. You know what you're doing. Everybody has anxiety with this stuff. Just do it. And that was so like, he just, like you said, just snapped that shit out of me. I was like, I do this. Like, we're just talking here.
That's it. And I'm sure you do this all day, every day with clients and customers. And like, I'm sure they're not one kind of client and customer. So at the end of the day, it's almost like being in hospitality. You're constantly dealing with the change of people. So you're good with exchange, right?
Right.
Whether you have 1,500, 500, 2 million followers, that's not what makes you somebody or nobody, right? Like at the end of the day, you could have someone with 2 million followers who feels like nobody when they go home. Loneliest people in the world sometimes, just because everything is generally about the audience. Right. If you are passionate about what you do here, it'll show without you having to prove anything, right? You are somebody. I looked at the shop. The shop says, we've worked hard. We're trying to elevate. We're going into this space and we're going to crush it, right? You're not going in here thinking you're not. You're going in here confident, knowing that you will. It's just something new, which I get, which is the perfect kind of scary that you want when you're starting something. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit to cars. I know you're a car guy. Yeah, he's getting excited. I'm getting excited too.
Michael started off and he was saying, oh, like, it's so cool. Like, I knew you were cool in this. I respect you with that. And I was like, when we were downstairs, you were like, oh yeah, British Racing Green. Like, I love that color. It's a cool color. I'm like, all right, this guy's like, that's like a pretty average thing right now. When you said the car I wanted instead of this car, which can we mention your car? Yeah. So he drives a new it's G80, right? Yeah. G80 M3 4-door, which for me, it's if I was to spend, whatever I wanted on a daily driver, it's a tough toss up between that and an E63. I'm not really an M5 guy. I love the 4-door version of your car. Right. But you said what you were thinking about was a B5 Avant RS5. RS4, sorry. I'm getting all jumbled up. And I was like, okay, so this guy is really into cars and he's been into cars for a very long time. Correct. So what, the first question that I want to ask, especially you, like knowing where you grew up and how old you are, was like, what was so hot when you first got into cars? Like, what was like, if I could somehow get this, like, I don't even know, like.
God, when we're talking, well, that goes back. So you don't see people who are like really big into car culture, especially in the city, right? Unless you have some tie or connection to it. So my uncle, my great uncle, my grandmother's brother had a junkyard in North Carolina. We used to spend summers down there. And so that's how I actually got into cars, because he had this lot basically with cars and some of them had keys in them. And so when we were like real young, we'd steal them. We'd steal them and borrowing, right? Trash them anyway. So we'd take them, and that's how I learned how to drive. Wow. And so, I mean, the worst of them all, he had a school bus one time, my cousin.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That didn't really go too far, because it was like, we lived on a road where it was like all family members, and they were like, so I was driving a bus. So that's how I like actually fell in love with cars. But I remember like the first car, and I was young. I couldn't even drive. I was probably like 12 years old at the time. It was all like the VTEC. VTEC was like everywhere, right? And so I was like, oh, I'm going to get a Honda. I'm going to get JDM lights to put on there.
Stolen out of the driveway.
They're going to take all the parts. And then I was like, no, I don't I'm not going to get a Honda. And then my brother, when he went to college, he got a Volkswagen Corrado. And I was like, whoa. Like,
hot car.
What is this? It had a Leishlam supercharger on it. So it had the whine. And so like way too loud. It was like a fire truck. Every time he drove, it was like, wah. So people would just run out of the way or cars would pull over to the side. It was actually great. And then he had that car for a while. And then he moved to the West Coast and then he got an STI.
Okay.
And so he was like, I don't know what to do with this car. Do you want it? And so I was like, yeah. And then like this car, like you could be driving at 80, it would turn off on you. It was like take the clutch out, turn it on, put it back into gear, and then almost. When he literally brought it, dropped it off, and he was like, I just want to tell you a few weird things about this car. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, do I actually want this car? But I love that car. It was
How long did you have it for?
Years. I had it for a while and it was great. Go-kart, right? 250 wheel horsepower, nothing wild.
Probably got very comfortable with it. And really
2,800 pounds. It weighed nothing. It had great suspension, new speed wheels on it, had a short shifter kit. It was great. And then like I lived in the city. I didn't really need the car, but I just loved driving. And at a certain point I became so busy with work, put it in storage and I was like, okay, I don't need a car. And then I started getting the itch again. And so that's when I was like, okay, what kind of car, right? And this is years had passed. So it's like, what kind of car do I want? Station wagon. My sister was like, you want a station wagon? Like, what? Like, why do you want a station wagon? I was like, look at it. It's a 2.7 liter twin turbo. It's got a 6-speed clutch, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, or do I want to like R33? Do I want something that's like you never see here?
Right.
And then I started looking at prices of these cars. And I was like,
ridiculous.
Wow. A 20-year-old, 22-year-old car, 25-year-old car, it's just under $100,000. Nah, I was like,
doing a lot of mental gymnastics.
I just can't. I can't. Right, like
if I walk
if I get it and leave it as is, which is
not what you're gonna do.
That was what I said to myself when I got this car. I was like, I'm not gonna do one thing to this car. Week later, I had
2 stages
different
later.
suspension.
So there was nothing in between the M3 and the Volkswagen.
Nope.
Wow.
And people were like, "That's so strange."
Do you still have the Volkswagen?
Still have the Volkswagen.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And at some point, I hope my brother doesn't see this. I want to like re-gift it back to him.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like, but I want to restore it, like gut it, new interior, put probably a VR6 in it because the Leishlam or the 1.8 you couldn't have. He had no AC. That car was hot in the summer. You know what I mean? It was just like, I was like, no, I think I'll restore it, give it back to him, put some creature comforts in it.
That'd be a fun project.
Yeah. I also think like people are always like, oh, you just love BMW. And I'm like, no, I love all cars.
Yeah. Based on the way you're talking, you can tell you have a very vast.
It's all over the place.
Like, yeah.
If I could have any car right now, it'd be an R34.
Really?
Yes. The sound, the turbo whistle, the all-wheel drive. You don't see them ever.
Right.
How do you get into those? Like, how did you find those?
Fast and Furious.
Okay. I'm waiting for someone to say something else. But yeah.
No, I like, everybody's like, yeah, I've always been into, really? Like, unless you were in or part of car culture in general, that was the movie that was like, this is the realm of like what's actually offered in terms of platforms out there, right? And everything was a little bit different. Like the Eclipse to the Skyline to the Supra, everything was a little bit different. But yeah, the RB motor is like one of the most beautiful sounds to me.
Yeah.
If I had to choose something like Supercar S, it'd probably be a 918. Okay. Yeah.
So if you were to have,
I think Porsche's the best supercar.
Be careful, it's Porsche. That's another.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've got some flack on the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
Porsche. I'm still gonna say it.
Good for you. I love it. Man.
I just like stir in the pot.
It's hard for me to understand where the A came from.
I don't get it.
I get it. It's like I'm not gonna say Volkswagen, right?
Come on, man.
It's
you go to a gyro spot, you're like, I'm gonna get a Euro.
It's like I'm gonna say Porsche.
He does that at restaurants though.
I do it.
He pronounces it. And
I grew up with three friends, and so they would say Hero.
It's not that. It's Italian food for me.
Okay.
Like I used to, you know what? Honestly, when you find a good woman, you find a good wife, she can change you. My wife was like, you can't be around my family and cut off the vowels when you say Italian things. Prosciutto, mozzarella, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now it's prosciutto, mozzarella.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you sound so
whack.
Please
whack.
stop. I'm like,
I mean, my dad used to get on us about that stuff too. Which I always say, like if someone, like if I'm friends with someone and they're like, that's not really how you say that, and they tell me the actual proper way of saying it, sure, I'm going to do that out of respect to the culture.
Yeah, right.
But at the end, I don't know any Porsche,
the end of the day, it's
Porsche engineers.
Yeah.
Well, it's our culture. You know what I mean? That's the way we say it.
Thank you for being respectful.
Right.
So respect our culture too.
So the question that we like to ask people to put, your love of cars in perspective, it tells a lot about who you are, is unlimited budget. You only have space for 3 cars. You get a daily driver, your weekend car, and your grail car. Now, you have to think about it in a few ways.
Daily driver, weekend car, and then what's the last?
Grail car. So this is a car that you might not even touch. So your daily driver, people will say like, 911. Okay, so you want to have a family one day. You need to go get groceries. That doesn't make sense. Think about it like that. And your weekend car, people are like, I want a Land Cruiser. Okay, but in this sense, we're talking about
no limits. Like, it's just like, I think that looks sick, or it's like something about it has no practicality behind it at all. Price is no option.
Right. And the grail car is maybe like a museum piece, or you could drive it. I love when people drive their hypercars. Yeah, 19 would be
The
nice.
918 would probably be
Your grail car.
yes. Daily would be what I'm currently driving.
Yeah.
The M3. Weekend car. This one is tough. I'd probably go with the twin turbo Cayenne because you can still go fast.
Interesting.
It's still got great suspension. You could still pack it, and you can fit a decent amount of people.
That's a good answer.
2 Porsches, 1 BMW.
What automatic or manual?
If I had to choose, I would
your car.
automatic. So you can't get it actually in manual if it's all-wheel drive.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so I was like, I might drive this in the snow, but they don't make them that way. And I get it, right?
The transmission's great.
Yes, it shifts plenty fine, but at that power level, when you start playing with it, the torque is what will kill those transmissions. And so thinking about a manual 6-speed, I get it. Financially, it doesn't make sense for them. They knew people would probably break them. But I think transmission-wise, if you're thinking about speed, PDK is probably the best.
Yeah,
that Porsche makes.
That's a ton of fun.
It's.
Have you driven one of those?
I've driven a 911. Yes.
With PDK?
Newer? Yeah. And it's what everyone says. Everyone's like, yeah, eventually you'll come over to the dark side, which is they always say is Porsche.
PDK makes it easy. To drive an automatic.
I mean, I've seen videos where they like will go from 7th gear to 4th, and it's still like in milliseconds. It's wild.
If you just like drop your foot all the way down on the gas,
right,
it just downshifts as low as it can comfortably go.
Right.
And just the noise and everything about that is just like lights you right up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sound, especially with like a GT3.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So you were talking about, and I don't know if this is something you feel comfortable talking about, but you're tomorrow or in the near future, you're doing a little bit more work to your car. You're going to add some horsepower to it.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm driving to Pennsylvania to go to a shop to get it tuned.
What shop?
So it's called Volux Auto Works.
Okay.
A good guy that I know and follow. And this is the great thing about social media. I've met so many people. And I used to joke around with my friend who had like beer friends. And I used to say, you're going to meet your online friends? Make sure you tell me where you are so you come back alive.
Send your location.
But all of a sudden, I'm meeting random people that I've met through social media. And so he's got... Right. Exactly. So he's got a shop that he uses, and the shop that I use here to build the car, Autocraft, built the car. And then MHD is a tuner profile that it's boot mod MHD. Not a lot of people work with MHD, so it's kind of hard. And so I found the shop that he's worked with, and I'm going to go there tomorrow and get like a 93 profile tune, an E50 and an E70. Try to get as close to E85 as I can without going full E85. But the car is, generally speaking, it should do between 9 and 1,000 horsepower.
What do you have in it now? You have like a downpipe and a tune?
All I have is a downpipe, mid-pipe, forged rods. I've got a Kelford cam.
Oh, so
and
you're
then
deep.
hybrid turbos.
Yeah, you're deep. I don't even know what that is.
Usually people go like full scroll, do a single. I opted for hybrids because I just like the way the power band is, like good decent amount of torque in the low end, and still like pulls till pretty high in the rev range. And the camshaft will probably take care of the rev range at the top.
Do you worry about the car becoming not daily drivable when you put 1,000 horsepower into it?
So the thing is, I'll never, when I go to the track, Like if I'm going to an event to do some roll racing, maybe some drag racing, I'll probably always be on 93 unless I'm going to like a special event, which I would probably think would be maybe a handful of times a year.
Right.
For the most part, it's going to be on like a 93 tune, which will probably sit just under 700 horsepower. And people are beating these cars, like beating on them bad. I'm not looking to be the first or the fastest. I just wanted something that when I did want to play around, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Is the car any more or less uncomfortable than it was when you got it?
No, it's still comfortable.
It feels like an OEM car.
When you can turn the valves off, right? Or close them essentially. And I'll take calls, work calls, because I used to not have the valve controller. Someone would call me and it'd be like, and someone's like, where the fuck are you? Like, are you at a raceway? And also my girlfriend was like, dude, we gotta do something about the sound. But for the most part, if I kept the valves closed, you wouldn't know I really did much. It's a little bit louder, definitely, because of the downpipe and midpipe, but it's still got the stock back box, which I don't plan on changing. It's plenty loud. And I didn't want it to be like obnoxious.
What kind of horsepower does it have right now on 93?
It'll probably it should probably sit between like 650 and 700.
It's a lot.
So you didn't dyno it. That's kind of just like what you've been reading.
Yeah. And so
will these guys dyno it down there?
Yeah, we're going to dyno it tomorrow. So dyno and tune. So we'll be there for a few hours, just kind of like getting as much as I can out of each stage and then go.
And is this the kind of stuff that you'll put on your Instagram or?
Yeah. I'll say like.
Do people like that?
People are like, when are you going to the fucking dyno? Like I have a friend, he keeps going like, what's up? And I'm like, I'm going Friday. And he's like, one more day. Wow. Do
you have a lot of Peloton guys that are big car guys?
Yes. And that's the funny thing. Who are part of some crazy like communities in terms of like car culture and car groups. And so everyone's been like, listen, we want to see what it does.
Don't embarrass us.
Yeah, like
go to the dyno.
Yeah, like go get it done.
Put it on the Pelly tread.
But it's a horsepower. Like generally, I think automobiles are doing this horsepower war. It's like how much faster can we get?
I feel like they're over with the electric cars. The horsepower wars are over.
It's dead
with the electric cars.
Yeah,
100%. Like
where are we going now?
Tesla track package is psychotic.
He said this last night. I mean, you have a soccer mom with two kids in the back. She's got 1,000 horsepower in a car,
right?
And an S Plaid. Like, what are we doing?
Where are you going?
Don't you think we should have a special license for that? Like,
I mean, I think eventually it's going to be like if you go past a certain horsepower, it has to be self-driving.
Interesting. That's actually a good idea.
Real future. I hope I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not electric. I'm not self-driving.
I'd rather always drive.
Yeah.
And I have an electric car, but I would rather always drive.
How do you like your electric car?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like night and day. Like it's the most comfortable thing I've been in. It's quiet. There's no gear changes.
It's the perfect tool.
Everything is smooth. It's just spacious. It's real. Like in terms of luxury, I get why people are drawn to electric cars. They are pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
I like sound.
Yeah.
Too. So like I get the best of both worlds.
The sound, the shake, the whole experience that you're going through now where you're really making it your own. I feel like so much of that gets lost in that electric world.
It's soulless.
I feel like it's becoming like, do you want small, medium, large? Do you want black, white, or gray or blue? Right. Like we have two interiors.
Correct.
And you're done now. Right. Just now take your dishwasher and drive it to the mall.
And then go.
Yeah.
I will say this, and that's why I think I love mine. There's character to it, right? Like not in the sound, but in the aesthetic of the Ionic. Yeah. And sitting in one, you're like this is a car still. But I do think there are some manufacturers that
Tesla definitely has that feel, and they're cool.
I will not say.
Listen, I think they're okay with that because they're serving a market. It's
100%.
For a lot of people, it's A to B.
It's a tool.
Like I have such a romantic relationship with cars where it's like, you know your car, you understand your car. Like you're talking about how long you drove that Volkswagen for. Mm-hmm. My first car was an A4. It was a B6 A4. Mm-hmm. And I drove that car for like 5 years. And that car was like my baby. Like that car, 100%. I'd been through so much with it. I knew what it could and couldn't do. Mm-hmm. So like there, I could like be going up ridiculous hills. So I'm like, no, this will do that. I can do that right now with these like 1,000%. And like, it was just like a real like getting to know you, like growing with you experience. And I feel like a lot of people don't have that. Like I feel like
not connected at all.
It's like your personal home. It's another person. people don't care.
Right.
They throw my shit in, let's go, gotta get there, let's go. And that's kind of the Tesla market. It's so good for that, but it's not your G80.
No, it's interesting because culture everywhere, right? Like car culture specifically is so different. Like 2016, I went to Japan with my brother, and how they treat their cars, whether it's a 86 Corolla or something that's brand new 2024, pristine. Like,
Well, that's one thing that I appreciated about you. You pulled up, and what did I say? I said, is your car always like this, or did you clean? And it's always like that, and you keep your shit correct.
a haircut once a week.
The craziest part of Japan is all the taxis are like 90s Toyotas.
Yes.
And they are so clean and so nice and so comfortable. My wife and I went for our honeymoon, and we went to this random weird quirky beach town just on a day trip outside of Tokyo. And the amount of skylines and MR2s and those tiny K trucks and K cars, and they were all mint. It's like people have no idea.
Right.
And I'm looking like, and everyone's just like, what the hell's wrong with this American kid? Like, what is going on?
And you couldn't just believe how clean they were.
It's
right.
insane.
And I've always said it's not about the actual car, because we have friends that drive older BMWs, newer Audis, older Toyotas. It's how you keep your car.
Yeah.
Right. And I can always tell when I see someone's car, I'm like, this is how you think of things, right? Like the person who's like trash in the passenger seat. I'm like,
That's what my car's like right now.
doing? What are you doing? What are you saying? What are you doing?
Well, it's also like a big reflection on the state of my life at the time.
Chaos?
Like, well,
Right now, maybe.
sometimes I'm like, yeah, right now I'm not doing too good.
Right.
But like in a week, I'll clean my car, clean my apartment. I'm like, all right, I'm like, gonna survive.
I'm doing stuff.
I'm making it, 33.
Yeah. I mean, my dad used to have this old two-door Thunderbird, right? Red interior, all black. And
What year was that?
God, I don't, it might have been like a 92.
Okay.
Maybe.
Very cool car.
But he loved this thing. And that's where I get like how to treat the car. Like, don't put your feet in the seat. Like, don't put your feet on the dash.
Yeah.
Like, keep your shoes on. No, there's no drinking or eating in this car. I drink and eat in my car. But especially when I was coming up, I was like smashing Chick-fil-A. I had 60 nuggets and I was just like, go, go, go. But he didn't. There was no nonsense in the car. And so like every car I've had, even with the Corrado, same thing. I washed it every week. Was the paint perfect? No. Was the interior perfect? No. But for me, I needed to buff it and make sure I take care of it.
So I want to ask you one more
Gotta
question.
keep the rust clean.
I want to ask you one more question that will kind of tie everything up. And then I hear that it sounds like you're a good driver on the road, but I want to see how you do on Mario Kart. And I'm excited to see how you do.
Oh, God.
But,
He's got the focus. I think he's got it.
yeah, I think so too. If you had to go back in time and had a magic wand and you could tell 16-year-old Adrian anything, what piece of advice would you give him?
Ooh, 16-year-old Adrian, anything. Kind of what I've realized now, taking wrong steps is a part of the process. Wrong steps still mean steps forward, right? And so there was a large part of my life where I thought I was going in the wrong direction because I wasn't getting where I wanted to be. And so I thought I wasn't moving forward. And those wrong steps help set me up to be great at what I'm doing now. And so now I'm thankful of those wrong steps. And had I taken different steps, I don't think I'd be the same person or where I need to be or who I am right now. And so I would tell me then it's okay to fail a few times so you can get to where you need to be.
Would it be fair to say another kind of way of putting that is like trust the process a little bit?
Correct.
Okay.
100%. Sometimes but still be working in the process. I think sometimes people think trust the process and they're like, we'll see what happens, right? Like
I can
we'll
eat
see where the
Chick-fil-A.
energy pulls me. And I'm like, what? No, you still have to be
Going
working.
die that way.
I mean, you still have to be working towards a goal, right?
100%.
You still have to be working. And I've always been a hustler and I still am, but you got to trust.
Awesome advice.
You got to trust your process.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Adrian NYC, Adrian Williams NYC. I forgot my last name. On social, TikTok, Instagram. Peloton. If you want to reach out and work out, Peloton, always. I do everything there. So
What's your hardest class?
under 45.
All right.
Are you on the app as well?
Yeah.
Because you can now download the app.
Download the app
have any of your
straight
products
to your phone. You don't need any products. You can just take me, which is my friend Max. He's like, can I FaceTime you when I see people in the gym using you? And I'm like, yeah. And people are like, what the fuck?
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. But yeah, you can take it right on your phone.
That's great.
Anywhere.
Well, thank you so much. This has been another amazing episode and super inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate
the J&B Body Talks podcast. You can find us at J&B Body Works, or who is Mikey is, who is Joe is. We are hosting a Cars and Coffee, which I shot you a DM about that. We'd love to have you there. No pressure.
I'll be there.
Awesome. It is on March 24th. We're going to have all sorts of stuff. We might have the RWB that we got to work on with our buddy Mike Rollo, who's just on the podcast. So that's going to be really cool.
Okay.
Tons of awesome stuff. STOs. We got some M's coming. We're going to meet some really cool people. Definitely come up. It's at Bobo's Cafe in Somers. Thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And let's play some Mario Kart.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. That was awesome. All right. Welcome to Mario Kart, Adrian.
Oh, here we
I
are.
have some questions to ask you. First question. If you had to be friends with any celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. That's a good one. What's an artist that you're listening to in the car right now?
21 Savage. A lot of 21 Savage. I don't know why I'm in like a ratchet rap situation, but I always am listening to a lot of EDM too.
Any superpower, what would you have?
Oof, flight. To be able to fly anywhere would be amazing.
Good answer.
Favorite place you've ever been to or visited?
Tokyo, Japan.
My answer as well.
100%.
What's your perfect date night?
Beach, seafood, no shoes, warm weather, good cocktails.
Would you?
Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? In New York, probably Ito. It's a omakase place down in Tribeca.
Give up one for the rest of your life. Caffeine or alcohol?
Caffeine.
No question.
Yeah. I love a good drink. I love a good beer. I love, some good tequila. It doesn't matter, but yeah, I have a lot of energy. I can do without coffee.
Drink of choice.
Anywhere? Like, what are we talking? Like, no matter where I am?
Cocktail. Favorite cocktail?
Your go-to.
Favorite cocktail would probably be little tequila and pineapple. Favorite drink that I like, just always beer. I love beer.
Really?
Yes.
This might be it.
Yeah, I think you might
I
have.
think you did 35. Let's chat on that one.
Wow, 37.
Damn.
Really nervous.
Close.
That was really impressive. So I think he's going to be third.